Jobber matches, a disappointing CM Punk segment, and Darby Allin damn near trying to kill himself. It's everything you'd expect from an AEW show. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling for your AEW Collision review for the 19th of August 2023. And I just want to say, before I start this video, Darby Allin is a fucking madman. He keeps doing these crazy spots. One day, he's going to paralyze himself, and for what? For absolutely nothing. I'll talk more about it when we get to the main event, but it's dumb. I might not like the guy. I might hate the guy. Well, not hate. Hate's a strong word, but I might really dislike watching the guy on my screen, but I don't want the guy to get seriously hurt yet. Every week, he seems to outdo himself. And the week after, it's totally forgotten about, so therefore it's irrelevant. But tonight, big back coffin drop onto the bloody edge of the ring. And what's the point? The hardest part of the ring, and this guy's thrown himself back first, spine first onto it. Anyway, we'll discuss that when we get there. CM Punk comes out for... No, Samoa Joe comes out. So Samoa Joe comes out for his match against the Golden Vampire. I mean, what the hell is this shit? People said it reminded them of Edge and Christian, but I disagree, because the Edge and Christian stuff, it was like comedy stuff. It was like a gimmick. That's something you would expect Edge and Christian to do, because back then they were comedy characters. No one was expecting CM Punk to be dressed in this like fucking Goldust lookalike costume. So this Golden Vampire attacks Samoa Joe, hits some sloppy offense on Joe, then hits the go to sleep. And at this point you're thinking, wow, whoever's inside this fucking mask, they must suck, because they're hitting some dodgy moves. And it turns out it was CM Punk. CM Punk takes the mask off, he looks at Samoa Joe, and he says, I accept, bitch. So it's going to be CM Punk versus Samoa Joe for the real world title at AEW All In. And this go to sleep was horrible. It just goes to show that CM Punk, I think, should change his finisher up. He was never good at the go to sleep. Even in WWE, maybe the guy was good at hitting it in the indies because it's like fucking vanilla midgets, but I remember in WWE, every time he hit the go to sleep, it looked horrible. Anytime he had to hit it on someone that was like over 220 pounds, it sucked. He could hit it on Jeff Hardy, he could hit it on John Morrison, but when it came to hitting it on like a, let's say, a Triple H, or a JBL, or a Kane, someone like that, a Batista, someone a bit heavier than him, then he could never do it. It looks like a bad move. He can't do it on Samoa Joe. Surely he needs to come up with something else. He's getting older now. He's not as strong as he used to be. He got his ass kicked in MMA twice. This guy shouldn't be doing this go to sleep if he can't perform it. It looks horrible. Honestly, instead of coming out with trans t-shirts and trying to raise other people's kids to be trans children, maybe this guy should stop trying to indoctrinate kids and start going to the gym and putting a bit of muscle on. That way, he might actually be able to hit his finish and move. Because CM Punk, you suck, buddy. You fucking suck. Now, speaking of sucking, we had Dalton Castle up next with the boys. I mean, this is a grown man that comes out with a bunch of boys. That's just fucking weird. It's gay, it's weird, it's not something I want to watch, but he gets beat by Jay White, get that right, he gets beat by Jay White, and then Jay White and the Bullet Club Gold, they cut a promo, the promo was okay, they bullied Tony Schiavone, the promo was decent, but at the end of it, they say to everybody in the crowd, we've got 2 words for you, and the crowd chant, suck it, but then Jay White goes, nah, guns up, and it's like, no, guns up, nobody gives a shit about guns up. Suck It is legendary. Suck It was made legendary by DX, who are a legendary faction. Nobody gives a shit about Guns Up, man. Compare Guns Up to Suck It. I mean, Guns Up's going to lose every single time. Fucking withdraw your guns, man. You ain't going to win this one. Anyway, up next, we've got Iron Savages and Jack Jameson. They come out to the ring and they have a match with the Gun Club and Juice Robinson. What is it with bums on this show? Seriously, why the fuck? Who are these 3 guys? I've no idea. Tony Khan must have plucked them from his ass, or either that, or he's promoted them for Ring of Honor. Either way, Bullet Club Gold win. No surprise. You know what? I will say this: Bullet Club Gold is drawing on me. You know, it's growing on me for sure. I actually kind of do like the Bullet Club Gold, and Juice Robinson's a bit crazy, and Jay White's not as bad as I thought he would be. And the Gun Club, I think, have improved a lot. I think the Gun Club have actually got better since splitting up for Billy Gunn. My opinion. I'd say out of all the factions in AEW, they're probably the best faction. I can't think of a better one. Anyway, after this, we get the House of Black, and they're having a ceremony over Billy Gunn's wrestling boots. Probably Billy Gunn's wrestling boots are probably the biggest thing on this show. They're big boots to fill. After this, speaking of Phil, we get Bill. We get Big Bill, and he is being managed by Ricky Starks. So I guess because Ricky Starks is suspended, he has to be a manager now, and he is managing Big Bill, who returns to the company. Big Bill takes on Derek Neal. Again, who the fuck is Derek Neal? I would say Tony Khan promoted this guy for Ring of Honor, but I'd be highly surprised if this guy even got on Ring of Honor. He was just an absolute nobody, and Big Bill wins. Ricky Starks celebrates, and it's like last week we'd seen CM Punk have an issue with Ricky Starks, obviously over the whole Ricky the Dragon Steamboat thing. It's like, so this week, why isn't CM Punk trying to follow that up? They've just completely dropped the CM Punk Ricky Starks rivalry thing here. I don't get that, but I mean, whatever. Then we got Diamante versus Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale was beating her chest here like a gorilla. Not quite sure why. I think the women's division on Collision is terrible. Overall, I think the AEW women's division is terrible, but the women's division they've got on Collision just seems to suck. It's like, out of nowhere, they're trying to portray Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue as like credible main eventers for the women, but they're not. It was only like 6 months ago these two started like actually appearing on AEW, and they've won a couple of random matches, but it's almost like AEW think that these two are bigger stars than they are, and for some reason they're not. I mean, they should be at like the lower end of the women's division, but for some reason the likes of Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue, they're treated like they're top contenders, and nobody thinks that. Honestly, nobody looks at these two and think, wow, they could be champions. So I don't know why they're getting this like big push all of a sudden. It just doesn't feel organic. It just feels like AEW doesn't have any women to push. It doesn't have any good women, so these two are just getting forced into that position. I don't know. I don't like it. Anyway, Willow Nightingale beats Diamante. I think Diamante might have been in LAX. I don't know. Anyway, she's very short. She looks like Tessa Blanchard. She kind of looks like an uglier, shorter version of Tessa Blanchard. Not that I'm saying Tessa Blanchard's hot, but I think Tessa Blanchard's probably got a prettier face than Diamante. And she's taller. Maybe got better assets. I don't know. Anyway, Willow Nightingale beats Diamante. Not really a lot to talk about here. And if you want jobbers, then don't worry, guys. We've got a lot more. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Kevin Koo. I mean, what are we doing here? Why are we watching this? Who the fuck is Kevin Koo? Kung Fu Kev. I mean, why? Powerhouse Hobbs beats him. Nay bother. We knew he was going to win. It should be no surprise to anybody that Powerhouse Hobbs won this match. I would have fucking died of shock if Powerhouse Hobbs didn't win this match. Then Miro appears on the Titantron. He starts talking about gods and how he's godly and how he doesn't have his goddess. He's all alone and he no longer believes in the gods. But come AEW All In, Powerhouse Hobbs will believe in gods because Miro is Hobbs' god and Hobbs bows down to Miro. Something along those lines. I don't quite know what they're going for here, turning Miro into some like Russian fucking god, or I guess he's not Russian because of what's happening in Russia. Bulgarian god. He's some Bulgarian god. So yeah, no, I mean, it was okay. It was alright, I guess, the Miro promo. But they have dropped the ball big time with Miro. And some people say, oh, AEW is treating Miro correctly. Like, AEW is going to do great with Miro. Just look at WWE. The guy came in a fucking tank at Mania. AEW is never going to compete with that. AEW is never going to better that. The guy came out in a fucking tank. A Russian tank. And AEW is supposed to... The AEW has them come out with video games? I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Then we get the main event. Christian Cage taking on Darby Allin, and I thought the title was on the line. Turns out the title's not on the line. Look, entertaining match. Now, there's a spot where Christian Cage is laying on the edge of the ring. Then Darby Allin's going on top. He is going to go for the coffin drop, so it's on like the edge of the ring, the edge of the ring apron. So, let's say the ring apron. So he's going to go for it. Luchasaurus then pulls Christian off the ring apron. Darby Allin goes for the coffin drop, and he lands back first on the ring apron, the hardest part of the fucking ring. And yeah, I mean, he might have landed, you know, full body, full back first, you know, flat back bump, but you're talking maybe an inch or two. If he gets this move wrong, then he is hitting his back right on the edge of the ring apron, and like that could be enough to paralyze you. That could be enough to fucking end your career or put you on the shelf, or like I said, just completely fuck you up. And why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? Now, Jim Ross said on commentary that Darby Allin is the most daredevil wrestler, risk-taking daredevil wrestler that he's ever seen. Now, I don't agree with that, but I mean, that's JR's opinion. I would say it's Jeff Hardy. But what I will say about Jeff Hardy is, I feel like Jeff Hardy made his risks count. When you think of all the crazy shit that Jeff Hardy done, a lot of it's memorable. You remember the big moments, like the swantons off the massive ladder, the spear from Edge off the top of the ladder when Jeff's hanging on to the belt. We've got Jeff when he did the swanton through the table in the steel cage match against the Dudleys. With Jeff when he done the Whisper of the Wind off the top of the steel cage. We've got Jeff Hardy when he done the swanton bomb off the top of the Titantron when he was in the Monsters Ball match in TNA. When you think of Jeff Hardy's big-time, extreme, risk-taking moments, they're all memorable. You all remember them. Darby Allin, they're not. This guy just does crazy fucking shit every week where he'll throw his body like a torpedo. He'll throw his body into like a hard object and just, he takes risks that ain't worth the risk. There's no risk here. Jeff Hardy used to do things that would A, be risk-taking, B, be memorable, but C, more importantly, like win him the match. Darby Allin's doing shit that ain't winning him nothing. He's just literally risking his life, risking his body, risking being paralysed because it seems like a good idea. It's a spot that you remember, then next week you've forgotten about it. Unlike Jeff Hardy, who, when he did do risk-taking shit, you remember it for years, you remember it decades down the line. I mean, if you put like a montage of all Jeff Hardy's big risk-taking moments, you're going to remember them all. You're going to go, I remember the time he done that, I remember that, I remember that. You do Darby Allin's and it's just going to be a bunch of random shit that didn't need to be done. So yeah, the guy he does risk his body. I mean, I'm not denying that. He does take risks. He is a bit of a daredevil, but the risks aren't worth taking. The risks aren't memorable. And I don't think it makes for good wrestling, but I mean, whatever. In the end, Christian hits a couple of spears, but Darby Allin manages to kick out of them. Darby Allin then rolls up Christian and gets the 1, 2, 3. Luchasaurus comes out after the match, attacks Darby Allin, then Christian pins Darby Allin, and Christian gets Schiavone to introduce him as the TNT champion, because he defeated Darby. Even though the belt wasn't on the line, when Darby Allin first won, I was like, oh fuck, no way, they took the belt off Christian, but it turns out it was a non-title match. I thought it was a title match, but it turns out it was non-title. AEW then ends with Christian celebrating with Luchasaurus. You've got Darby Allin laying in the ring dead, and you've got not Ricky Starks, you've got Swerve Strickland watching backstage. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great collision, let's be honest. It was a bunch of fucking jobbers. The main event was okay, but overall, it wasn't great. It sucked, let's be real, it did suck. I like the Bullet Club promo, and I kind of like the main event. I'll give it a 2 out of 10, guys, and I feel like I'm being generous. It's a generous 2. Let us know your thoughts down below. I'll catch you in the next one, and of course, until then, peace.